The nights in Xinghai City are always as hot as a festival, with neon lights making people's eyes dizzy, and the streets and alleys are full of people's voices. Lin Hao pushed his snacks and walked through one scattered alley after another, and finally stopped on the old street called Nightcat Lane. Although this alley is inconspicuous, the traffic is very large at night. People often come with white men and overtime dogs after get off work, and some young people running at night. They buy orders when they are hungry. To Lin Hao came, this is his golden area. After Lin Hao started working hard, he quickly started to work hard. His snacks sell simple fried buns, crispy buns, wrapped in chicken eggs, tangerines, and some ham or spicy noodles. It costs 10 pieces per serving, which is cheap and affordable. He was quick and skilled in his movements. He could get one in 3 or 2 seconds and get a hot pass to the customer's hands. Although he was so tired that his back hurt every day, he still felt quite accomplished as he saw more and more people in the front row of UZ. "Boss, come and have 2 servings of baked buns, add spicy." A young man in sports shouted Lin Hao, sweating profusely, and he just finished running. "Okay, wait." Lin Hao responded with a smile. The mirror in his hand did not stop, and he was flipping through the movements of his breasts. He liked this busy feeling. Although he paid a small amount of money, every time he sold a pancake, he felt that he was one step closer to his dream. Yes, dream. Lin Hao has never been a peaceful person since he was a child. Although his family was poor and his father was in his hometown, he came to Xinghai City to work in junior high school before he finished studying, but he always had a thought in his mind: he didn't want to just get along with it. He wanted to make some big deals and make some famous in this city. But he couldn't tell what he was doing. Anyway, he just didn't want to stay forever and live in the dilapidated rental house in the city village forever. Just as he was thinking, an acquaintance suddenly came to his son. Chen Xiaoyang and Lin Hao grew up together, and now he works in a small supermarket nearby. This guy has a bit of a good personality and always makes a noise, but he is very kind-hearted, so he has nothing to say to Lin Hao. How is the business tonight?" Chen Xiaoyang asked with a mouthful of oil on the side of the fried dough that Lin Hao had just given him. "It's okay, just force yourself to pay the rent." Lin Hao smiled and wiped the sweat from his head. "Why are you free?" "Not on duty?" I'll go tonight and I'll talk to you." Chen Xiaoyang grinned and showed her white teeth. "I heard that the stool owner on the street next door recently issued a small fortune and sold a small store. When do you think we can get this together?" Lin Hao heard it and felt a little nervous, but he still talked. "You are just fishing for the past 3 days, and you should work in real life." "Store? How much money does it cost?" "If we add up, it will probably be too expensive to rent a store." "TSK, who do you look down on me?" Chen Xiaoyang hummed in dissatisfaction, and then said mysteriously, "I tell you, I recently heard a news that there was a boss nearby. He used to be a big boss, but now he is in a downturn. He plays chess at the entrance of the alley every day, and he hears that he knows a lot of business doors. If we go and get close, what can we learn?" Lin Hao raised his eyebrows when he heard this, and it was not too serious. "Who did you hear? This kind of thing is probably blind. How could any down-and-out boss come to play chess in this broken place? Besides, even if there is really, what will people teach us?" "Oh, don't worry, come with me tomorrow." Chen Xiaoyang slapped his chest. "What can I really learn from Wani? Maybe it's our chance to turn things around." Lin Hao didn't say anything, lowered his head and continued to work in his hands, feeling a little nervous. He knew that Chen Xiaoyang likes to brag, but is this true? In places like Xinghai City, there are opportunities for this kind of thing to be hidden in inconspicuous corners sometimes. The night became darker and there were fewer customers in front of the school, so Lin Hao began to pack up his things and prepare for the collection. Chen Xiaoyang was still talking beside him, talking about the various gossips he heard. At this moment, an old man wearing a gray coat walked over, hunched his back, gray hair, and sharp eyes. He stood in front of the sacrificial sun, glanced at Lin Hao, and said in a low voice, "Little brother, come and have a portion of the sausage," without adding any sausage. Lin Hao started to make puffs quickly without thinking about it. The old man stood aside, and without saying a word, he watched him work quietly. Chen Xiaoyang came here and muttered in a low voice, "Howsy, look at this old man, isn't it a little familiar? Maybe it's the one I told you. Don't guess." Lin Hao glared at him and focused on doing the work in his hand. However, he couldn't help but look at the old man a few more times in his heart. After the fried dough was ready, Lin Hao passed by. After the old man took it, he took out a snail of 10 pieces of money from his pocket and said, "Little brother, you have a good handwriting, and you are doing your business very carefully. Thank you." Lin Hao smiled, took the money, and replied, Do you often come to this alley? It looks familiar." The old man didn't answer directly, but just smiled and said, "I have come to this alley many times and have seen many young people like you get up early and go to bed. However, there are not many who can hold on. This sounds like a reward, but also a bit different." Lin Hao was stunned. Before he could think about it carefully, the old man had already turned away, and his back disappeared into the dim light in the alley. "Howsy, have you heard that? Is there anything in this old man?" Chen Xiaoyan smiled and patted Lin Hao on the shoulder. "I tell you, this person is definitely not simple. We must go to the entrance of the alley to find him tomorrow." Lin Hao didn't say anything, but just lowered his head and put on his back, feeling a little chaotic. He didn't know who this old man was, but the sentence "no one can hold on" inexplicably made him feel a little uncomfortable, as if reminding him that although his days are tired now, they are far away. The next night, after Lin Hao collected the food, Chen Xiaoyang was still dragged to the entrance of the alley. There are several stone tables there, and there are always some old ladies playing chess and chatting there. Today is no exception. Several old men surrounded a table, and the black and white pieces on the chessboard were being killed fiercely. Lin Hao saw the old man who bought fried buns last night at a glance. He sat aside, not playing chess, but just looked at the chess plate with his head low, occasionally pointing out 2 comments, with a low voice, very heavy. "It's him," Chen Xiaoyang said in a short voice, pushing Lin Hao. Go up and talk." Lin Hao was a little hesitant, but he still walked over with his head. He is not an active person, but Chen Xiaoyang said it right. In a place like Xinghai City, there is no chance to find it by himself, so he has to take the initiative a little more. Do you still remember me? I bought a fried baked bun in the alley last night." Lin Hao tried to open his mouth, his language as natural as possible. The old man raised his head and looked at him, with his eyes fixed on his old sword, and he pointed, "Remember. You little brother, your handicraft is good, why didn't you put it tonight? I've collected it, and I'll turn it over." Lin Hao smiled, and then he mustered up his courage. "Did you hear that you used to do big business? We are young and ignorant and want to learn something from you, but I wonder if Fang is inconvenient?" As soon as this was said, Lin Hao felt a little abrupt, but he said everything and could not take it back. The old man heard it. He was not angry, but just smiled low and said slowly, "Learn something? Who doesn't know anyone this age? Why do you want to teach you?" Lin Hao was choked and his face was a little red. Chen Xiaoyang also slapped his head in an awkward manner. But the old man then said, "However, it's okay for me to be so idle, but I can talk to you. Have you ever thought about how big a fry can you sell in this alley?" Lin Hao was stunned and suddenly felt like he couldn't speak. This old man didn't have many words, but every sentence seemed to be trying to find him. He thought about it and replied seriously, I know that selling nuts can't make a lot of money, but I think that as long as I'm willing to work hard, I can always find a way. I don't want to reach the top in one step, I just want to go step by step and make the nuts bigger, and I may be able to open a small shop one day." The old man heard it, and there was a strange light in his eyes. He pointed it, "I have ideas, but it's useless to have ideas. In Xinghai City, there are more people who have more ideas. What can be achieved by your vision and treacherous? What is your name?" "Lin Hao." He answered in a fair manner. "Lin Hao." The old man read it again, then stood up and patted the dust on his clothes. "My name is Zhang Yifan. I remember. If you have time, come here to talk to me. I am such an old man, I don't have much ability, but there are some things that I can give you a try." After saying that, Zhang Yifan turned around and walked away, not moving fast, but there was an indescribable atmosphere in his back. Lin Hao stood there, feeling a little excited and confused in his heart. He didn't know who the old man was, but he just told him that this person might be really not simple. "How's he, have you heard it? He said you will come to him often." Chen Xiaoyan smiled and patted Lin Hao's shoulder. "I tell you, this must be a big shot. We have been cheating on this time." Lin Hao didn't say anything, just looked at the direction where Zhang Yifan disappeared, and a little flame ignited in his heart. He knew that in Xinghai City, opportunities and traps always existed, but no matter what, he had to seize this straw and try it. In the next few days, Lin Hao would go to the entrance of the alley to chat with Zhang Yifan every night after he had his meal. Zhang Yifan didn't talk much, but every time he said something, Lin Hao felt like a window was open in his brain. What he talked about was not a profound theory, but the survival rules in this city, such as how to look at people, how to seize opportunities, and even how to deal with urban management. Lin Hao heard it seriously and slowly realized that this old man's experience was far more complicated than he thought. At the same time, Lin Hao's snack business is getting better and better. He heard Zhang Yifan's suggestion, changed to a more eye-catching position, and added a few new flavors, and the number of customers suddenly increased. However, when the business is good, the troubles follow. That night, Lin Hao just gave up his son, and several men in suits walked over. The woman in the head was very strong, wearing a black professional outfit. Her eyes were as cold as a knife. "Little brother, is this place your place?" The woman opened her mouth, and there was no temperature in her voice. Lin Hao clicked a little, but couldn't touch his head a little. "Yes, what's wrong?" The woman smiled and passed a business card. "My name is Zhou Roland. I have a lot of business in this area. Your location is good, but it has affected the business of several of our stores. In this way, I will give you 3 days to move away, otherwise don't blame me for being rude." Lin Hao took the business card and saw that he wrote Roland Trade General Manager on it, and his heart sank. He knew that this woman was not easy to mess with, but he finally fought for this position, and moving away meant that the business would be greatly affected. He gritted his teeth and said, "General Zhou, who is not involved in my small business, right? Can I be compatible?" Zhou Roland sneered and said nothing, but turned around and left, leaving a sentence, 3 days, don't let me see you again." Lin Hao stood there, holding the business card in his hand, and his heart was filled with scent. He knew that this was just the beginning. In a place like Xinghai City, the bigger the business, the more trouble it would be. But he was unwilling to give up so much. After all, he finally got to this point. After collecting the food that night, he went to the entrance of the alley to find Zhang Yifan and told him everything. After Zhang Yifan finished listening, he was silent for a while before he slowly spoke. "Lin Hao, this is a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is that you can keep your eyes on others and show that you have the potential. What's bad is that you don't have the ability to fight this kind of person head-on. However, remember one thing, in Xinghai City, business is not done by making steps, but by brains." Lin Hao heard this and thought something. He knew that in the next 3 days, he might decide whether his snacks could continue, or even affect his future path. He had to think of a way, and he couldn't just be forced away. The night became increasingly heavy, and the lights at the entrance of the alley were dim and yellow and faint. Lin Hao sat on the stone bench, turning around his brain. Zhang Yifan didn't say anything anymore, but just looked at him quietly, with a flash of expectation in his eyes, as if he was waiting to see how far a young man could go this year. The night was a bit cool, and the lights at the entrance of the alley were flashing and dark. Lin Hao was sitting on the stone bench, holding the business card left by Zhou Roland in his hand, and his heart seemed to be filled with a stone. He knew that these 3 days were not just a joke. If he was really forced to leave, not only would his business be affected, but his efforts during this period would be useless. He glanced at Zhang Yifan next to him. The old man was still as slow as he was looking down at the chessboard, as if everything had nothing to do with him. "Old Zhang, what should I do?" Lin Hao finally couldn't help but open his mouth, and there was a hurricane in his voice. I finally fought for this position. Moving away is like coming from the head. But if you don't move, this woman doesn't look easy to mess with. I'm a little bitch, so how can I handle it with her? Zhang Yifan heard it, raised his head and looked at him, his eyes still so profitable, and he slowly said, Lin Hao, in Xinghai City, business has never been based on head-on battles. Do you think those big bosses rely on fists? If it's wrong, it depends on your brain. You have no capital or background now, the only thing you can use is this. He pointed to his brain, and then said, a person like Zhou Roland can manage the business in this area and show that she has resources, but she will not be able to pass by such a small bag like you. She gave you 3 days, not because she really wanted to rush you away, but because she wanted to see if you have some eyesight and whether you understand the rules. Lin Hao was stunned when he heard it, and his brain was a little bit unsteady. What does it mean? If she doesn't rush me to leave, then she will come and warn me what to fuck me? Zhang Yifan smiled and shook his head. This is a routine in the business field. She warned you that she wanted to let you take the initiative to serve, and said that she might have to give some money to show her attitude. If you really move away, she will save trouble. If you don't move and don't understand rules, then she will have reason to deal with you. Think about it, she has control over such a lot of business, and she really has time to stare at you every day. Lin Hao heard it and slowly tasted a little bit of the smell, and the heat in his heart also became a little bit weak. He lowered his head and thought for a while, and asked, what should I do? Do I really go and send her a good place? How can I do this small business? Zhang Yifan did not answer directly, but just asked, what do you think people like her want the most? Lin Hao was stunned for a moment, turned around for a few circles in his brain, and tried to find out, money? Or face? Not all. Zhang Yifan shook his head and said calmly. As a person like her, she has no shortage of money and face. What she wants is control. You do business under her nose. The better the business, the more she thinks you are potentially threatening. So, you have to make her feel that you are not threatening to her, and you can bring her some benefits. Lin Hao felt that he didn't understand, but he was puzzled to catch something in his heart. He clicked the head and didn't ask any more, just said, Old Zhang, I understand. I'll go back and think about my plan. I won't move away easily in these 3 days. Zhang Yifan nodded, said nothing, and looked down at the chessboard. Lin Hao stood up, greeted Chen Xiaoyang, and pushed his son back to the rental house. On the way, Chen Xiaoyang was still beside him. Howsy, do you really have a way? I see that woman's aura is so strong, we can't afford to offend her. Otherwise, we can change the place. Anyway, you have good hands and can eat anywhere. No. Lin Hao was snatched, his vocalization was very calm. I can't let this place. If I retreat now, there will be a second and third Zhou Roland to find trouble in the future. There is no way to take a step back. Chen Xiaoyang slapped his head and sighed. Okay, you'll fuck you if you decide, I'll support you. But you have to think clearly and don't put yourself in. Back at the rental house, Lin Hao lay on the hard bed, staring at the ceiling, his brain full of what Zhang Yifan said. He knew that Mr. Zhang meant to let him find a balance point, neither head-on nor completely soft. But he really has no headaches when he does it. Wanting to go, he decided to touch Zhou Roland's bottom first to see what this woman wanted. The next morning, Lin Hao did not rush to go out, but went to several nearby streets to turn around and heard Zhou Roland's background. After hearing this, he realized that this woman was indeed a big shot in this area. She had several restaurants and supermarkets under her command, and she had to give her some face to the streets. The listener said that she was very smart in business. If she dared not listen, she would not be able to continue her business. However, everyone would have to make this area. Lin Hao's heart was even heavier when he heard these, but he did not retreat. After returning to Zhuzi, he was busy with business and counting solutions. In the evening, he went to the entrance of the alley to find Zhang Yifan and told the old man the news he heard. Old Zhang, Zhou Roland is not simple this time. I guess she is not really looking down on me, but she wants to set rules with me so that other people can be honest. Lin Hao said, with a little helplessness in his temperament, but I really don't know how to deal with her. I don't have a code that can be taken out in such a small business. Zhang Yifan heard it, pointed it out, and said, you can see that she is setting rules for you, and this vision is good. Since she wants to set rules, you give her this face, but you can't make her feel that you are so bullying. Remember, there must be face in business. You have to make her feel that you are soft, but you can't make her think you have no bones. Lin Hao was a little confused, but he still said, let me try it. However, Mr. Zhang, have you encountered this before? What experience can you teach me? Zhang Yifan heard it, and there was a scattered light in his eyes. He was silent for a while before, and then he said, I did encounter many such things before. However, now I say these are useless. Just remember that in Xinghai City, no one is easy to offend, but not to be light and lower his head. Do you have to learn how to use the power to fight, do you understand? Borrowing the power to fight? Lin Hao repeated it, feeling a little touched, but he still didn't fully understand. He didn't ask any more questions, and after thanking Zhang Yifan, he went home. On the third day, which was the deadline given by Zhou Rulin, Lin Hao had already helped the child, but it was still an old place and did not move away. Sure enough, in the evening, Zhou Rulin's people came again. This time it was not her, but a suit man who was following her before, wearing a pair of black-framed glasses, looking quite gentle, but his eyes were filled with coldness. Little brother, President Zhou has given you time, why haven't you moved yet? The dressing man walked over, his temperament was neither too hot nor too light, but it was obviously a sense of pressure. Lin Hao wiped his hands and greeted him with a smile, brother, I know what President Zhou means. This location is indeed good. I am grateful for being able to eat here with a small sack. However, my business has improved a little, and it is really not possible to move away. In this way, I will express my feelings to President Zhou. If I have anything to help in this area in the future, I will say hello at any time. In addition, I don't earn much money every day, but I am willing to give it a little bit of my heart. I am grateful for General Zhou's care. Speaking of this, Lin Hao took out an envelope from his pocket and put 500 pieces of money in it. It was his death in the past few days. He knew that this amount of money was nothing to Zhou Rulin, but his attitude was stolen. The man in the suit took the envelope and glanced at it. His face had not changed much, but said, okay, I'll bring you your words to President Zhou. But I can remind you that President Zhou has limited patience, so you'd better not be smart. How dare you? Lin Hao smiled and pointed, his temperament was very humble, I am a small businessman, I just want to earn food in reality. The dressed man said nothing more and turned away. Lin Hao looked at his back and felt relaxed, but he also knew that this matter was probably not over. His move was to delay time, and the real challenge was still at the back. That night, he went to find Zhang Yifan again and told him about the daytime events. Zhang Yifan heard it and pointed, you took this first step well, which gave you face, and you didn't completely lower your head. However, people like Zhou Rulin wouldn't let you go like this. You have to think about how to turn this into your opportunity. An opportunity? Lin Hao was stunned, not understanding what it meant. Zhang Yifan didn't explain it, but said, in Xinghai City, crisis and opportunity always exist. Your current small slaughter has already attracted people's attention. This is a good thing, but it also means that more and more troubles. You have to learn to turn troubles into stones, do you understand? Lin Hao clicked a little, but although he still didn't fully understand, he felt a little in his heart. What Zhang Yifan said might be his biggest reliance for the next time. In the next few days, Zhou Rulin did not send anyone to find trouble, and Lin Hao's business was getting better and better. He heard Zhang Yifan's suggestion, not only added a few new flavors, but also placed a few small tables next to the steaks so that the guests could sit down and eat. Although the place is small, the business has doubled after this change. Many regular customers say that Lin Hao's little trunk feels like home and doesn't want to leave when he comes. After the business is good, Lin Hao feels more confident. He started to make money and planned to wait until the time arrived, so he would sell a small store to make the business bigger. But at this moment, Ma Luan came to the door again. That night, Lin Hao was busy greeting the customers when he suddenly heard a noisy sound coming from the entrance of the alley. He looked out and found that there were several people in uniforms rushing to the top, and the head was still a familiar face, the suit man who had been with Zhou Roland before. Lin Hao's heart sank, knowing that this was probably coming to him again. Sure enough, before a while, the few people walked up to his son and the dressed man said coldly, "Brother, I received a complaint that your son would affect the appearance of the city. You are restricted to your collection tonight. I won't be able to do this in the future." Lin Hao heard the fire came up, but he still said with a weak temper, "Brother, why did I suddenly affect the cityscape after being so tired for so long? Besides, I clean up every day and throw away the garbage every day. Whoever sues me, can I get the right quality?" The dressing man sneered, "You don't need to know who sued. Anyway, there are regulations on it. You have to move if you don't move. Don't force us to move." Lin Hao gritted his teeth and knew that it was probably Zhou Roland who was behind the scenes. She hadn't started directly before, but now she changed her way to mobilize him in the name of city appearance. He glanced at the guest in front of him, then at the dressed man, and his mind was quickly turned around. "Okay, I'll move." Lin Hao suddenly opened his mouth. His language was very calm, but, "Brother, give me some time. There are still customers like me who haven't finished eating, so I can't let people walk with a stomach full, right?" The dresser glanced at him and pointed at him, "Okay, I'll give you half an hour to clean up." After saying that, he walked to the side and waited. Lin Hao was busy with his head, but his brain didn't stop. He knew that if he really moved away this time, he would not be able to gain a foothold in this area in the future. He had to think of a way, at least he had to drag the crisis over. At this moment, Chen Xiaoyang ran over and asked anxiously, "Howsy, what's going on? Are these people here to find fault?" Lin Hao pointed at the head and said in a low voice, "It's probably Zhou Roland's fault. I'll calm them down first. Please help me and go to the entrance of the alley to find Mr. Zhang to see what he has to do." Chen Xiaoyang didn't say anything, but turned around and ran away. Lin Hao continued to greet the customers and delayed the time. After half an hour, the dressed man left again, impatiently, "Time has come, why don't you leave? Right now, come now." Lin Hao smiled and replied, his eyes glancing at the entrance of the alley. At this moment, Chen Xiaoyang ran back panting, followed by Zhang Yifan. The old man still looked like he was not too anxious and slow. He walked to the girl, glanced at the dressed man, and said, "Little brother, this girl belongs to my friend. What's going on? Has the city appearance affected?" The dressing man saw that he was an old man, and he was not too serious. He was very rude and said, "Old man, this matter has nothing to do with you, don't worry about it." Zhang Yifan was not angry, but just smiled and said, "I am a person who has no ability, but I just like to take care of things. You say that it affects the city appearance, but I think this clean, and the customers don't understand it. Why did it affect it? Besides, I understand the rules in this area. If you really do things according to the rules, you won't pick this point to attack people, right?" When the man in the suit heard it, his face changed and he didn't say anything more. Zhang Yifan continued, "That's right, my friend is not an ignorant person. If you really have trouble, let's sit down and chat, and there will always be solutions. This is not soft or hard, but it is very lively." The man in the suit hesitated for a moment, and finally ordered the head, "Okay, I'll give you face, I won't do it tonight. But this matter is not over, I'll come tomorrow." After saying that, he left with the man. Lin Hao relaxed his voice and turned to Zhang Yifan, "Old Zhang, thank you for your help. However, this matter is probably not over yet, I have to think about what to do." Zhang Yifan pointed at the head and said, "This is not over, but you don't worry. People like Zhou Roland like to play rules, so you have to know rules better than her. Next, you have to take the initiative to attack and not be beaten at all." "Take the attack?" Lin Hao was stunned, feeling a little assured. Zhang Yifan didn't explain much, but said, "You come to me tomorrow and I will teach you some tricks. Remember, in Xinghai City, business is not done by tolerance, but by competition." Lin Hao clicked a little, and a huge amount of hope ignited in his heart. He knew that the proportion of this scene and Zhou Roland had just begun. He has to learn to stand firmly in this city, even if it is just a small slut. It cannot let people bully it at will. The night was getting deeper, and the guests in front of the monk dispersed. Lin Hao began to pack up his things, and his brain was full of what Zhang Yifan said. He knew that the road ahead would be more difficult, but no matter what, he would not give up easily. In Xinghai City, opportunities and traps always exist, and he must seize every moment that may change his fate. The night became increasingly heavy, and the neon lights in Xinghai City were flashing far away, as if mocking Lin Hao's little slap. He packed up the last pile of things and pushed the car back to the rental house, his heart still heavy. The active attack that Zhang Yifan said has been moving in his brain, but he still has no clue as to how to hit it. However, he knew that he had to go to the entrance of the alley to find Mr. Zhang tomorrow. No matter what, he had to grasp this life-saving straw. The next morning, Lin Hao was not in a hurry to leave and went to the entrance of the alley first. Zhang Yifan was still the same, sitting at the stone table watching people play chess, seeing Lin Hao come, but just raised his eyes and said slowly, "Come? How did you sleep last night?" "How can I sleep?" Lin Hao sat down with a wry smile and slammed his head. "Old Zhang, what does the initiative you said last night mean? I don't have a small business like this, so why are you fighting someone like Zhou Roland?" Zhang Yifan didn't answer directly, glanced at him and said, "Lin Hao, why didn't you understand after spending so long in Xinghai City? Here, what's fighting is not money or fortune, but brain. You don't have resources and background now, but you have things that others don't have: bottom-level slacks and eyesight. Zhou Roland is so arrogant that he has long forgotten the rules of the streets and alleys. You have to use what you are best at: leveraging her interests." Lin Hao was stunned when he heard it, and there was a little chanting in his brain, but he was still confused. "You said it specifically, how can I leverage her interests? What can I like to see with such a little bitch?" Zhang Yifan smiled and clicked the chessboard on the stone table. "Look at this chess. It looks like black and white pieces fighting on the surface, but in fact it is the chess player playing. You are a pawn now and can't pass the river, but it doesn't mean you are useless. You have to make the other party think that your pawn can help her control other pieces, and even help her eat larger goals. Do you understand?" Lin Hao looked down at the chessboard, and a thought suddenly flashed through his brain. He thoughtfully pointed and said, "Old Zhang, what do you mean is that I have to let Zhou Roland feel that I am useful to her? But how can I prove this? Certification?" Zhang Yifan snorted, "You don't need to prove anything in Xinghai City, as long as you can let her see the benefits. The better your business, the more you have market vision. You have to let her know that you are not a troublesome, but a partner who can help her make money." Lin Hao heard it, and a light seemed to light up in his heart. He stood up and pointed Zhang Yifan at a glance. "Old Zhang, I understand. I will go back and think about it and come to see you in the evening." Back at the rental house, Lin Hao sat on the bed, his brain rolling quickly. He knew that Zhang Yifan meant that he would take the initiative to discuss with Zhou Roland, but not to be low-key, but to fight for a double win in the name of cooperation. But he still has to do a good job of talking about it. After all, people like Zhou Roland have seen more worlds than the salt he has eaten. If he is not careful, he may not even be able to save his son. At this time, Chen Xiaoyang pushed the door in, holding a bottle of California in his hand, and grinned. "Howsy, what's wrong?" What's wrong with the bitterness and deep hatred on his face? Lin Hao glanced at him with no gaze. "What else can you do? Zhou Roland's people came to find fault last night. Old Zhang asked me to take the initiative to attack. I was thinking about what to do." Chen Xiaoyang heard it and his eyes lit up. He came over and said, "Take it out? That's great. Let's go directly to that woman and show her attitude, saying that we are not afraid of her. What's the case?" Lin Hao rolled his eyes. "Why don't you be cannon fodder in your brain? Just be tough on her? That's asking for death. Mr. Zhang means to let me talk with her and find a way to win." "Cooperate?" Chen Xiaoyang slapped his head, puzzled. "What kind of good thing do you have to cooperate with her big company? Can she like you?" Lin Hao didn't say anything, but he was just counting in his heart. He suddenly thought that his business was good recently, and many of his customers were Zhou Wushang and overtime workers. These people happened to be the target customers of several restaurants under Zhou Rulan. If he could bring this part of the traffic over, he might be able to motivate her. Thinking of this, he had a preliminary idea in his mind. Before leaving that night, Lin Hao specially printed dozens of small bills, writing his special snacks on it, and added the sentence around the food and drink discounts: "You can enjoy discounts for consumption receipts for this item." He plans to try the water first to see if he can use this trick to attract customers, and at the same time he also gives Zhou Rulan a reason for cooperation. After the sacrificial sun was finished, Lin Hao was busy working and billing. Sure enough, many customers were very interested after taking the bill. Someone also asked, "Boss, do you have any cooperation with those stores next to you? Can you really get discounts?" Lin Hao smiled and pointed, "Yes, it's the trial stage now, and we're still talking about how to operate it, but it will definitely be good for everyone. You can use it in a few days." This trick worked, and the business that night was better than usual. Lin Hao felt a little confident and decided to go directly to Zhou Rulan tomorrow and write this idea with her. The next morning, Lin Hao wore a clean t-shirt and bravely went to the writing building where Zhou Rulan's company was located. The building was so high that it was dazzling, and the glass curtain wall was flashing under the sun. Lin Hao stood in the hall with a little soft legs, but he still walked to the front desk with his head hard and said he wanted to see Zhou Rulan. The front desk lady glanced at him and said in a cold manner, "Do you have a reservation? President Zhou is very busy and he doesn't make a reservation." Lin Hao smiled embarrassedly and took out the naughty business card from his pocket. "I am a little slim from Xinghai Lane. President Zhou has found me before and gave me this business card. I have idea of cooperation and want to talk to her and have a message." When the front desk saw him holding a business card, hesitated for a while, and called the internal line. Before long, she hung up the phone and said, "President Zhou asked you to go up and the elevator reaches the 18th floor, don't leave." Lin Hao relaxed and took the elevator to the 18th floor. When he arrived at Zhou Rulan's office door, he knocked on the door, and a cold sound came from it. When I pushed the door in, I saw Zhou Rulan sitting behind a large desk, wearing a black suit, and her atmosphere was so strong that she couldn't breathe. She raised her head and looked at Lin Hao, and a smile that was unexplained came out of the corner of her mouth. "Little brother, you're not a little boy. You dare to take the initiative to come to the door?" Lin Hao was nervous, but he still said with a stern face, "President Zhou, I know you are busy, so I won't waste my time. I want to talk to you about cooperation. My small business is still good, and many of the customers are white and overtime workers around. I wondered if you can contact your restaurant, such as buying a small receipt for my baby. You can get a discount when you go to your store to spend. In this way, your store business can be better, and my small store can also be exposed more. How about double wins?" Zhou Rulan heard it and raised his eyebrows. He didn't rush to answer. He just leaned on the back of the chair and looked at Lin Hao up and down. "You are so small, your brain is quite healthy. But, why do you think I want to cooperate with you? My store is very good business, so you don't need such a small amount of traffic." Lin Hao had expected her to say this, smiled, and then said, "President Zhou, your store is doing well, I know. But most of my customers are young people who are cheap and convenient to the picture. These people may not take the initiative to go to your store to spend. But if there is a traffic diversion, such as a small ticket discount, they may go there. For you, this is an additional source of customers. For me, everyone will not lose money to be able to save their children. How about it?" Zhou Rulan heard it, and there was a flash of excitement in his eyes, but his language was still cold. "The idea is good, but why do I trust you to attract customers? Besides, your little slap has collapsed one day. Isn't my cooperation in vain?" Lin Hao gritted his teeth and said, "President Zhou, although my sacrificial pie is small, I am confident to continue doing it. Let's try this for a month first. If the effect is not good, you will stop at any time and I will never get into trouble. If it is effective, we will discuss long-term cooperation." You don't want to eat, right? Zhou Rulin was silent for a while, and finally said, "Okay, little brother, I'll give you a month. I want to see what kind of flowers you can play with like this little trunk. But I remind you, don't be smart, Xinghai City is very deep." Lin Hao was busy. "Thank you, President Zhou, I must have worked hard." After leaving the office, Lin Hao felt like a big stone was removed from his heart. He knew that this month was the key. If it could really lead the source of customers, Zhou Rulin might not be bothered by him anymore, and he could even become his backer. But if it fails, he dare not imagine the consequences. In the next month, Lin Hao tried his best to fuck him. Not only did he continue to issue bills, he also built a small blackboard next to the sack and wrote the lyrics of "Get the nearby restaurants to enjoy discounts." The customers were very interested when they saw it. Many people took the tickets to Zhou Rulin's store. Lin Hao also went to the surrounding store to check the effect with Chen Xiaoyang, and found that many people actually came to spend money because of discounts. A month later, Zhou Rulin took the initiative to contact Lin Hao and asked him to go to the company again. This time, her attitude was a little more peaceful, and she opened her door to see Shandy and said, "Little brother, I'm having a good time. The customer flow of several of my stores has indeed increased a little. Although it's not much, it's still potential. Let's continue to cooperate. I'll protect you, so no one will worry about you again in the future." Lin Hao heard it and felt ecstatic, but he remained calm and said with a smile, "Thank you, President Zhou, I will definitely continue to work hard and will not disappoint you." After leaving Zhou Rulin's company, Lin Hao felt that it was a little dawn. He knew that this time, he not only saved his son, but also connected with Zhou Rulin, which was a big opportunity in Xinghai City. That night, he went to find Zhang Yifan again and told him everything. After listening, Zhang Yifan clicked a little and said, "Lin Hao, you are walking well. A person like Zhou Rulin can give her a little head and show that you have some ability. However, remember, this is just the beginning. Xinghai City is easy to stand firm and easy, but it is difficult to climb up. You have to take advantage of this opportunity to make your business bigger." Lin Hao pointed, "Old Zhang, I understand. I plan to use this time to earn some money and store a small store to upgrade the stake into a store. What do you think?" Zhang Yifan smiled and said, "I have ideas. However, opening a store is not a trivial matter. You have to learn to find resources and help. Just fight alone and you can't go far in the city." Lin Hao heard it and had a direction in his heart. In the next few months, he spent money on his own and looked around with Chen Xiaoyang to see the store. Finally, 6 months later, he set up a small store. Although the location was not good, the Night Cat Lane was not far away and the rent was still acceptable. He moved his sibling into the store and officially opened a snack bar, which was called Haozong Snack. On the day the store opened, Chen Xiaoyang hurriedly greeted the customers, and Zhang Yifan also came. Sitting in a corner of the store, drinking the beans given by Lin Hao for free, and said with a smile, "Lin Hao, you're doing well. Although this store is small, it's always the first step. Remember, don't just focus on making money, you have to learn to expand and deal with people." Lin Hao pointed his head and said with a smile, "Old Zhang, don't worry, I'm remembering. Without you, my store will probably not be able to open." Business is getting better day by day, and Lin Hao's shop has become a new couple for nearby white men and students. He also maintained cooperation with several stores of Zhou Rulin, and the customer flow rate increased stably. Just then, a stranger walked into his shop and changed everything. That evening, Lin Hao was busy greeting the customers, and a middle-aged man in low-key clothes but extraordinary temperament walked in. He ordered a portion of fried dough fruit, sat in the corner and ate it, looking at Lin Hao from time to time. Lin Hao felt a little strange, but he didn't think much about it until the man finished eating and passed by a business card and said, "Lin Hao, my name is Li Xian, I have heard about you." Lin Hao took the business card and saw that he wrote Xianyuan Investment on it, and was shocked. He heard this name, a famous investment company in Xinghai City, with a mysterious background. He clicked and said, "Mr. Li, thank you for your respect. My small shop has no big prospects. If you have any ideas, I will talk about it any time. Li Xian smiled and without saying much, he turned away. Lin Hao looked at his back and felt like he couldn't speak. He knew that this person's appearance was probably not accidental. That night, he told Zhang Yifan about this. Zhang Lao heard it, his eyes became a little complicated. After a while, he was silent, and then said, Lin Hao, Li Xian, the water is very deep. It may be a good thing or a nuisance when he comes to you. You have to be careful, but don't refuse it. There is no chance of this kind of thing if it is wrong. Lin Hao clicked a little and felt even more confused. He didn't know what Li Xian wanted to fuck him, but he just told him that this person might be his biggest turnaround. In the next few days, Li Xian came a few more times, and every time he ordered a portion of the pancake and chatted a few words, as if he was trying to explore Lin Hao's details. Until one day, he finally opened his mouth, Lin Hao, I looked at your store. The business is good, but the scale is too small. I can invest some money to help you grow your business, or even open a closed store. What do you think? Lin Hao heard it and his heart was beating wildly, but he was still calm and asked, Mr. Li, thank you for your kindness. But why did my small shop catch your eye? You must have a condition for investment, right? Li Xian smiled and said calmly, the conditions are very simple. I invest money, you will make a profit of 50% if you contribute. What I like is your potential. There are not many people in Xinghai City who can get from the street to open stores, and you are the exception. Lin Hao heard it and felt a little moved, but he also knew that this kind of cooperation was not a trivial matter. He didn't rush to answer, but just said, Mr. Li, let me take a few days of consideration, okay? Li Xian clicked his head a little, said nothing more, and got up and left. Lin Hao looked at his back and felt a little confused. He knew that this was a big opportunity, but it could be a big pit. He had to discuss with Zhang Yifan and see what was going on. That night, Lin Hao went to the entrance of the alley again and told Zhang Yifan about Li Xian's proposal. After listening to it, Zhang Yifan was silent for a long time before he opened his mouth. Lin Hao, Li Xian, I have heard it. The resources in his hands can allow you to reach the top in one step, but his purpose is never simple. If you take on this cooperation, you may fly Huangtang, or you may be swallowed by him. You can think about it yourself. Lin Hao heard it, and his heart became even heavier. He knew that Zhang Yifan was right, this was a gambler. If he won, he might really become a new legend in Xinghai City. If he lost, he might not be able to keep this small shop now. But he also knew that in a place like Xinghai City, if you don't pay, you will never have the chance to come out. In the next few days, Lin Hao repeatedly held power and finally decided to take over Li Xian's cooperation. He signed a contract with Li Xian, got the first investment, and started preparing a second store. With the support of funds, Lin Hao's business seemed to have opened. In just 1 year, Haoxiao Snacks has been expanded from one small store to 5 closed stores, becoming a well-known brand in Xinghai City. At the same time, Li Xian's real purpose slowly surfaced. It turned out that he invested in Lin Hao not only because he was attracted by his potential, but also because Lin Hao's store location was the key point for a major project he planned. He wanted to use Lin Hao's brand as the entry point for project promotion, and even planned to finally purchase Xinghai Snacks to control this market in full. After Lin Hao learned about this, he felt very uncomfortable. He knew that Li Xian's funds were very helpful to this day, but if he was really purchased, Xinghai Snacks would no longer be his. He began to make a secret arrangement, one with Li Xian and the other with him, and the other with new investment channels, intending to turn the market back at the key moment. That night, Lin Hao stood at the entrance of the newly opened 5th store, watching the people coming in the store, and felt mixed emotions. He knew that the road ahead would be even more difficult. Li Xian's ambition, Zhou Roland's pressure, and even the story behind Zhang Yifan were like a big net, covering him. But he was not afraid. Xinghai City was originally a big gala. Since he came in, he had to play to the end. As the night wind blew, the neon lights flashed far away. Lin Hao took a deep breath and took a deep breath, his eyes filled with unconvincing fluff. He knew that his journey had just begun.